Mud Puddle Farm, Michael Morpurgo. Chapter 1. There was once a family of all sorts of animals that lived in the farmyard behind the tumble-down barn on Mud Puddle Farm. At first light every morning, Frederick, the flame-feathered cockerel, lifted his eyes to the sun and crowed until the light came on at old Farmer Rafferty's bedroom window. "Wakey, wakey, wakey!" One by one the animals crept out into the dawn and stretched and yawned and scratched themselves, but no one was ever spoke a word, not until after breakfast. Mossop was a tired old farm cat who spent most of his day curled up asleep on the seat of Farmer Rafferty's tractor. Mossop paid no attention to Frederick. He got up when he pleased. Farmer Rafferty was usually a kind man with smiling eyes, but like Mossop, he was old and tired, and he ached in his bones in the wet weather. His animals were his only friends and his only family. "You look after me, and I'll look after you." So Frederick woke him up every morning. "Wakey, wakey!" Penelope and her speckled friends laid their eggs for him. Auntie Grace and Primrose let down their milk for him. Upside and down kept the pond clear of weeds. Captain carried him all around the farm to check the sheep. Jigger, the almost always sensible sheepdog, rounded up the sheep. And Mossop was supposed to catch mice and rats. My big fat zombie goldfish. Chapter 1. The Evil Scientist. Yesterday, my big brother Mark turned into a real-life, actual evil scientist. I mean, he always was mostly evil anyway. You know, knocking me down things or over things, locking me in things or out of things, squashing me under things or between things, that kind of evil, mostly evil stuff. But lately he slid up the evil scale from mostly evil to nearly totally evil. It started with the way he talked. "Oi, Tom," he shouted. "Remote, now!" Mark spoke in short words, like his brain had shrunk or something. He grabbed the remote and kicked my foot away. "Moron," he mumbled. My best friend, Pradeep, who lives next door, says that moron is a big brother word for little brothers. His brother Sand, who's almost mostly evil, calls him that too. Luckily, Sand is away at boarding school though, so he can only be mostly evil to Pradeep during school holidays. I told my mum about Mark going more evil, but Mum says it's just that Mark is homonal, which I think is why he's moaning at home a lot. She said he can't help acting evil. Well, she didn't say evil exactly, but she should have. She said it's because he has lots of hormones racing around his body. Just when I thought Mark couldn't get any worse, Granny and Grandad got him a chemistry set for his birthday. It came in a huge box with a big official writing on the front that read, "Warning, only for use by children over 12 years old, to be used solely under the supervision of adults." While I was reading the box, Mark thwacked my head from behind. "Don't touch this." "Got it," he said. I walked away rubbing my head, mostly because it hurt, but also to get my head out of the way in case he decided to thwack me again. He took out a white scientist coat and looked at all the stuff inside the box. There were bottles and test tubes and cups and little stirring things, all made of glass, real breakable glass. Mum looked at the chemistry set and leaned over to me. "Maybe you shouldn't touch it, dear. It looks like an accident waiting to happen," she said. Mark put on the coat and turned around. He folded up the collar, shoved his hands into the pockets, and let a creepy smile spread over his face. And you know that squirmy, prickly feeling you get when you let a millipede crawl on your arm? I had that feeling, but in my stomach. Mark had turned into an evil scientist. but I didn't know how evil he could be until he came home the next day with the goldfish.